So, what do you think is causing the game industry to be in such a rut? Do you think it's like trying to overly monetize the content? Is it putting battle passes? Basically, just overall, just being greedy.
I think greed might have something to do with it, because you're getting to these points where it doesn't matter how much you spend. There's always more to spend on. As far as take Fortnite for example, a skin. How much content could you really push with that? You could do literally anything to appeal to anybody, and it's constantly monetized. Whether it's $5, $20 to get a skin, so you're constantly playing this same game, and then you get these things where it's like, oh, I want to have Deadpool, for instance.
Yeah,
$20. 2 weeks later, they're coming out with the Star Wars OG stuff. They have Luke Skywalker with a lightsaber, $20. Batman, $20. Oh, you can play as the Joker now, $20. That's $80 in Fortnite just on skins.
Is that how much the skins cost? Is $20?
Some of them.
Jeez.
Because with Fortnite, you have to purchase things with their V-Bucks in-game currency,
and you have to buy the bundles of the actual. Ellie is the star of the show. Yeah, she wanted to lay and cuddle, so she's just gonna snooze here while we record.
Ellie looks like a contortionist.
Yeah, that's how it is on I imagine most microtransactional games where they have their own in-game currencies. You have to buy you can't just buy the amount that you need. You have to buy this package that's $20, and it leaves you with a little bit left over. So it's you're getting bonus.
Yeah, that I can't spend anywhere else.
Yeah.
I also think to a degree, you think about when video games were really a big thing. So I think, late 80s, early 90s, they were the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the big thing. From mid 90s until we'll say mid 2010 era, I think they were the big thing. And then as you look at the decline that comes up, I wonder if it's because of the advent of other just things.
Yeah.
These.
Yeah.
Doing things on these and social media, just having it at your fingertips. I think it cuts into everybody's time, throughout the day. I even find myself, just sitting there. I'll send you 3 reels, and you whine and cry like a little baby because I sent you 3 things. But, that's not just all I'm looking at. I'm just sitting there watching stuff. And granted, for me, it's mostly really late at night when I'm not going to be doing anything else but laying in bed. But, for other people, they might sit down to have their coffee and start, scrolling reels or looking at something on YouTube or pulling up an article, going through social media, whatever it is on their phone. And the next thing you know, they look up, their coffee's empty and a half hour's passed.
That is, that is a situation to get into. When you sit down, in the mornings, if I sit down and, I have a bowl of cereal or I have some eggs or something to eat, I have my coffee and I'll eat breakfast. And as I'm chewing, I'll just kind of diddle on my phone and then, take a sip of coffee, look at some stuff, and then my coffee's empty. My plate's been empty for 45 minutes.
Hold up.
Plate? And an hour has passed. I'm whoa.
How are you doing cereal with a plate?
Well, if I have eggs, I'm on a plate. But,
I'm on a plate.
When it comes to the whole gaming industry and the microtransactions and how to basically bleed your customers dry, I feel for a game like Fortnite, if you're playing Fortnite, that's your game. That's the game that you're going to play. That's the game that you enjoy playing. You put a lot of time into it. So microtransactions for something like that, I feel is more acceptable, at least in my book.
So it's weird. I thought that initially too. And I think for kids, in a lot of ways for kids, it's like Fortnite or bust if they're Fortnite kids.
Yeah.
You know, there are other kids that like Rocket League if their parents will let them play it. And typically if you play Rocket League, you don't like Fortnite. It's like one or the other, it seems. But I also have noticed, like, with at least among some of the other friends I have, and for me in particular, you know, we'll play Fortnite and we'll just like blast Fortnite for like a week and a half straight. And then next thing you know, it's just like, oh, we're playing Destiny for 2 weeks straight. Oh, back to Fortnite. And then we like throw Call of Duty in there. And, you know, maybe I think I launched Rocket League once and I was just like, no.
It's nice to have like a rotation of games that you play with your friends and stuff. Like, yeah, like you can play like a Call of Duty and then change it up and play, you know, something else, and then change it up, go back to Call of Duty, change it up, play this. Like, that is nice at times, but like if I'm playing like a multiplayer game, like if I'm like a Call of Duty guy and like that's my game and that's all I play, like, you know, with my friends, or that's what I play when I want to sit down and play games or what have you, like I feel like if I'm buying that and like I'm buying the operator skins and I'm buying, you know, whatever you can buy in Call of Duty nowadays, I don't even know like the transactions and stuff in that game, but for me, like that kind of stuff makes sense because it's a game that's meant to be, you know, ongoing, especially something like Fortnite, Apex Legends, even like MTG Arena, to throw that into the mix. Like, you're buying gems to then buy packs to open packs of the new set so you can get the new cards for your deck. You get wild cards. You can craft the cards for the new decks that you want to play.
You're not going down this magic path.
No. Like, it's just showing as a whole, like, that there are these games where microtransactions do make sense. So, like, monetization for that matter and those games, 100% I can get on board with that because they're meant to be a long-lasting game.
That's the problem, though. That's actually what I was leading up to, not to stop you.
No, go ahead.
Somebody had to. I love you, really, I do. When we grew up, games... There were some games you could always play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Tetris. Tetris you can always play. There are some games where you can play it multiple times, yeah, but, you know, you go through it once and it's done.
Yeah.
You know, you can beat it again. You can beat it 20 times if you wanted to.
Super Mario 3, for example. Like, you could play that a bunch of times and it doesn't really get old. Like, you can beat it once a year. You can beat it like once a year, twice a year.
Once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There are those games that you can play every year that you just get the itch and you go and you play it and you beat it and you're just like, all right.
Well, yeah, there are also games where you beat it once in a lifetime, and that's too many. But
So, just before we get off that topic, I was actually, it was kind of to like this point exactly, is there was a guy that I was listening to, I don't remember who he was, but he was talking about something along the lines of the gaming industry as a whole. And he was talking about, you know, replayability with games and stuff like that. And he talked about Red Dead Redemption 2. And he's like, I love that game. I thought it was absolutely, like, phenomenal. But I will never play it again.
rightfully so.
Which, like, proves my point when I talk about, like, new games with other people that maybe aren't in, like, the community of, like, you know, gamers. Is modern games are cool. 100%. They're fantastic. But it really speaks to how good a game is if you want to go back and replay it. You know, when you finish it and you're just like, that was so good. I've had my fix for now, but I will be coming back to this to play it again.
Right. And that's kind of in line with what I'm getting at, is we'll take Fortnite as our prime example. When you and I were playing on N64 or those other things where you would go out and buy a cartridge, we bought multiple games because we finished one and wanted something different.
Yeah.
We've now reached this point where a single game is now reinventing itself in seasons where you basically start over from the beginning and have to, re-level up to get all the good stuff. And you're just in this one game.
Yeah.
And it's continuous. And, you have the microtransaction aspect of it. The game itself is free. I'm wondering if because people are so ingrained in playing these single games, like just, grinding on these things time and time again, and then you reach a point and it resets and you start over and you keep doing it again. Are they just not buying as many games as they used to because they have no need to fulfill that piece?
So a lot of the people that play these kinds of games like Apex, Fortnite, and stuff like that, they have a group of friends that they're playing with.
Right.
It speaks to when we were kids, we had, our friends over and we played N64, or we played Super
Duke
Nintendo,
Nukem.
Or we
Nukem,
even in my teenage years when it was, all right, I'm going to go over to my friend Andrew's house and we're going to play Halo until 5 a.m. Like, it speaks to that. Like, I had my time with those. And yes, there were definitely long stretches of time where I played nothing but, Modern Warfare 2, Halo 3, Halo 2, and games like that. But the people that are playing these kinds of games are usually playing with their friends. There's, people that play solo on Fortnite or whatever. That's casual gamers that sit down after a long day of work. They want to get in a couple of games and that's it.
Are there?
But they're not. I don't think those people are the ones that are dropping, all this money in the microtransactions.
Actually, I think the people that play solo, that are dedicated enough to go out there solo, like on multiple occasions, are probably the people that are like, let me buy that, let me buy that, let me buy that, let me invest my life into this.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Yeah, but there's
like that cat. Look at that cat. Guarantee you that cat plays Fortnite.
Not in this house.
I'll bet.
With the newer released games, like there's two that come to mind as of recent that have really been in the spotlight, and it's Star Wars Outlaws, and it's the new Assassin's Creed. Have you seen the stuff with the new Assassin's Creed game?
No.
Like the stuff that they're, getting a lot of heat for.
What are they getting heat for?
So they've
been knifing people with blades in their wrists since the dawn of the century.
They showed their plans for like the release, their pre-order and like the different editions and stuff. So you have your standard edition that you can get, where it's you get the game.
Right.
Then you get the $20. You pay $20 extra, and you get the game 3 days early. You get an extra mission, but if you buy the $120 edition, you get all of the previous stuff, and you get to play it 3 days early. But if you buy the max edition, you get extra skill points. You get all this stuff, and you get the battle pass or whatever. And it's like,
pay for progress.
So
nice.
Hold on. So now you're not only are you charging for progress, if you start the game
and early access
with 5 skill points and you get the game 3 days early, you're paying for progress in the game to start out with an advantage. But now you're charging to get the game early, but now you're charging for a battle pass in a single player game. How does that make any sense? How are you going to have a battle pass in a single-player game?
So Ubisoft, they're still Ubisoft, right?
I'm pretty sure both of those games are coming out from Ubisoft. I could be wrong on the Star Wars one. I think that it might be EA.
I believe he was the executive who said people are going to have to get used to not owning their games.
Yes.
This is your opportunity as a consumer to say, fuck off.
Yeah, like, I can... different editions, sure. I'm down for, if I want the standard edition, if I want a deluxe edition that comes with a little extra perks or whatever, or, like, a big collector's edition that comes with, like, statue and stuff like that.
Collector's edition, yes.
Yeah.
That middle ground one, not necessary.
No.
Not necessary. You don't need to sell the game with all this extra crap. You can sell the extra crap after the fact.
If you're going to do like some sort of like middle ground, just take the content that you're giving them with the middle tier and just throw it in the pre-order bonus.
Here's an idea. Stop trying to weasel money out of people by playing on what you think their like deep desires are or their fear of missing out, and just publish a damn game.
That's the issue with the game industry, though, is they are trying to get as much time out of you into their game as humanly possible, and they think that all of these little microtransactions or, day one patches or day one DLC or all of these little things that they just slowly trickle out to you, that's going to keep you invested. But it's not. It's backfiring on them now because now people are talking about it. Every YouTuber out there that's in this kind of stuff is screaming from the rooftops like, this is the problem. And it's over monetization. You can't just focus on monetizing these games because you're just going to fail every single time.
Well, that's the thing. They're not, because people want what they want, and they just give in.
Exactly. If you deliver a good quality game that isn't absolute dog water on release, it functions and it has good gameplay and it has replayability and or just a good experience for, if your friends want to play with you, you want to play with other, like, if that's your goal, to have this, you're not gonna compete with Fortnite or Call of Duty in that space. You're just not going to. Stop trying to. Make your own just game and push it out finished, complete, in working order, and don't try and make the customer feel like they're being robbed.
I think they just need to make the jump to games as software as a service. If they really are that concerned about monetization, call it a day, stop your physical copies, make it digital, pay by month to do it.
Well, that's where we're going for sure.
If your priority is how much coin you can rack up from your product, like with your game, just all or nothing, man. Like, stop with this nonsense of, oh, you get it 3 days early because you gave us more money. You get special treatment because you gave us more money. And that's the weird thing. Like, there are actually things out there where I believe that's like almost a spin on extortion or bribery.
I mean, kind of, yeah, because they're trying everything, and like these, I don't know. I really wish I knew if Outlaws was Ubisoft or not.
Like, do you think so? The next movie coming out, if I pay $150 for my ticket to the theater, can I see it a week early?
Dude, you remember when? I don't know if you had this, but my parents would go to an auction on the weekends, and they would come home, and there'd be like movies that were still in the theaters, and they'd have like these super thin DVD cases of these movies, but they were like obviously bootlegged movies.
Yeah, your parents didn't go to auctions; they went to flea markets.
They went to the black market.
Their dad, yeah. So there were a few of those in my day down in around Baltimore City, and you could find literally any movie on a plain DVD-R, Sharpied, in a slim jewel case that usually was some rather colorful choice, like a blue one or a green one or a yellow one. So Bad Boys, I think my stepdad bought Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2 that way, and he came back, and I was like, you realize you just violated every piracy law in the book, right?
I remember we got The Day After Tomorrow, and I remember we were watching the movie, and we saw like somebody get up and walk across at the bottom, and I was like, wait, they're just filming this in the theater.
That's funny.
But back to the game industry topic before we get too off track.
It's horrible.
It's bad, and they need to figure out how to right the ship, because if they don't, it's just going to get worse.
They have no reason to.
I think that with the way that the community and like the customers speak, and you speak with your wallets. If you don't want this to happen, don't buy it, don't support it. And if there's enough outcry for this, like, they will revert.
Let me put it to you this way. Many, 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 many years ago, a couple guys got together and threw a bunch of crap in Boston Harbor over a 2% tax. 2%.
Mm-hmm.
That was a statement. They boycotted things. That was a statement. It made sense. It cost the company money. The company they had no choice.
Yeah.
Until we, as this humongous population that we are now, realize that those things work at scale, we're never going to get a statement in edgewise.
Yeah.
Because these companies care about nothing but the black and white on paper.
Yeah. All they care about is what their percentages look like at the end of the day. And it's sad that the gaming industry has come to this, because like there's so many games that come out, and there's potential for so many good titles, and especially like franchises that are, from when we were, playing PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, and like that's a franchise they resurrected, and they're like, look, we're back and we're gonna, do this right, or we're gonna give it a proper send off, and it's like, yes, finally we're gonna get that. And it's just a cash grab. They put zero effort into it. It's just dead and just nothing.
If the new Assassin's Creed, and I love Assassin's Creed, if the new Assassin's Creed only sold 50,000 copies total,
mm-hmm.
Ubisoft would have a nightmare on their hands to deal with financially.
Yeah.
And they would be begging people to explain what they could do.
Yeah. Because with games, it's not like a movie where you have like it opening in theaters and like you can kind of sucker people in to see it, and then like on release day, and then they're like, oh, this sucks. For a game, like you only have like the people that really want to buy it, which is much less than like a movie, because a movie speaks to everybody. Everybody loves movies.
No.
There's select people that don't love movies because they suck, but you love movies. Shut your mouth.
Movies are cool. I'm not a big screen person outside of games. I like the interactive piece.
Yeah, well, yeah, so do I. But, when it comes to games, you're not getting as big of an audience. So when you get these people and sucker them into buying a copy... Oh, she's gone. To buy a copy, you can only sucker them for so long. And with how popular, game content creation is on social media and stuff, like, you got a couple of people saying that it sucks, it's dead in the water.
I'm telling you now, you can sucker them until they don't let you sucker them.
I pity the fool.
You can do it as long as they buy it.
Yeah,
like, that's literally the case. And I mean, you say a couple people say it sucks, it gets a bad rap. I think it takes more than a couple people saying it, but to your point, it gets a bad rap. Does it really impact it does it really impact it to the point where it makes an impact? If you understand what I'm saying.
It can.
Like, reducing sales by 10% is not fun. It doesn't necessitate a change.
Yeah.
It's not going to crash a company.
Imagine if Cyberpunk, when it came out, was what Cyberpunk is right now. Like, it took them, 2 years to get that game into, like, a functioning, good state?
Well, yeah, and what they should have done was not released it and took the additional 2 years.
How massive that game would have been if it released in the state that it is. Like, everybody and their mother was hyped on that game. That game was, like, hyped to the max. And then it came out, and people tried to play it, and it was just the absolute worst experience anybody could ever have.
Yeah, I mean...
And then now they're like, please, come back. And it's like, dude, you've already soiled that one. Like, we've got other games now that we're playing. If you don't capture them in that first like holding game in hand ready to play it, you've lost them.
The first impression?
Yeah, yes.
The opening window, it's with anything. You have a window of time to capitalize on that feeling of new.
Yeah.
That curiosity.
The life cycle of anything is so small nowadays. The
Well,
news cycle, the, whatever's popular at the time, like, you see articles about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, for example, when that was still like booming. Like, if you had all that, the next thing, everyone's like, oh, the next thing. We don't care about that anymore. It's the American attention span.
It's the speed of life.
I can't even read that.
It says, did I just soil myself?
Did I just soil myself?
Oh my God.
Did you just soil yourself?
I did not, but you may have.
Maybe.
I don't understand why we as a society feel the need to live so fast.
It's crazy, the amount of things that people try and do all at once. Like, I was just watching an Asmongold video today, or listening to an Asmongold video today, and he was saying that he was so excited to play this game. It was the first Dragon's Dogma. He was so excited to play it. He sat down, he played it, and he hated it. He was trying to watch YouTube videos, he was trying to listen to music, and he was trying to like do other things while he played it. And then he stopped doing all of that stuff and just played the game, and he was like, it was incredible. And it's like, that's all that needs to happen. Just slow down. When you sit down to play a game, put your phone away, sit down, focus on the game, and just try and figure out if it's the game that you want to play. Because a lot of people get influenced by outside people, and that's just what they do. They're just like, oh no, he said it was bad, it's terrible. And then they go out and tell other people, yeah, it's bad, don't play it.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example. I'm being heavily influenced by that burrito right now. And it's not going to be pretty in a minute, but no, you're right. And I'm guilty of it to an extent with some stuff. Like, I multitask.
I
I was multitasking the other day when we were upstairs working on whatever it was that we were working on.
Fixing that closet shelf that decided
yeah,
to
like, I'm sitting there trying to field like different stuff online, and at the same time putting screws in a wall, and it was pretty comical, but sometimes I think it's somewhat necessary.
Sometimes it is necessary, and sometimes there's a time and a place.
Yeah, and I don't think there are many occasions where you, like, when we talk about multitasking, I don't see an argument for doing more than two things simultaneously.
It depends. I mean, if you're sitting at a desk and you have like multiple monitors, you can do a lot. But if you're driving a car and you're trying to read the newspaper while talking on the phone and eating a bowl of cereal, like, that's a problem.
But here's the thing.
Don't do that.
Your eyes can only focus on one thing at a time.
True, but there's things that you can do in the background. You can have a YouTube video up that you're listening to and like kind of watching, and then you're like,
well, hold up. How are you kind of watching it if you're focused on a different monitor working on something?
Well, if you kind of like
watching it?
Pan back and forth.
So you shuffle back and forth and truly pay attention to neither.
Well, yeah, but there's some things that you can half pay attention to while you do it. Like, I can sit at my monitor, play on two different RuneScape accounts, and listen to a YouTube video while I do it, and then watch a movie on the other thing if I wanted to. And
this goes back to what my great-grandfather had always told me. Don't half-ass anything. Whole-ass one thing. He literally said that. God rest his soul. Love him to death.
That's what I'm going to start saying now. If you want to do it, whole-ass it.
There you go. Right? I mean, it's true, though. Because, like, you start to divulge your focus amongst, let's say, three different things. Can you truly say that any of those three things you are 100% confident was done correctly?
I mean, yeah.
So maybe the acceptable threshold's like 80% correct for each, but
it's all just dependent on what exactly the task is that you're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that like
writing a grocery list is a lot different than like writing a will.
Yeah, if you're gonna multitask while like writing something, don't multitask while you're writing a will. Multitask while you're writing the grocery list.
But
to bring this whole topic full circle,
bullshit.
Is when the people are whatever company it is, when they're focused on trying to make a game, they are just focusing on too many things at once.
Yeet!
How can we bleed them of all of their money? How can we keep them playing? How can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do... And it just continues down the line, and they have all these different people working on this, that, the other thing, and...
I mean, I think what you're trying to say here is they really want to make the decision on how they can grab you by the throat and hold your face to an open flame.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, which will lead us into this
fireworks?
This next topic that kind of goes hand in hand.
What is it?
Game fatigue.
Damn it!
So,
where are the fireworks?
Is game fatigue leading to the words are hard.
Yeah, they are for you.
Is it leading to the decline in like the sales of games with, all of these games coming out in a single year that are huge, massive games, 60-hour, 70-hour games or more on top of trying to keep up with multiplayer experiences and this, like, everybody's just trying to play things that are popular at the time while they're popular. Or
what the hell is game fatigue?
You're getting all of these games thrown at you, and you want to play, if there's 100 games that come out in a year, and there's 20 of them that you're like, I really want to play those games, but you don't have the time to play 20 games.
That's a very bad name for that.
Game fatigue?
Yeah, fatigue is like,
you're
getting worn out. But
yes, you're trying to keep up with,
what
you're
expressing is like being able to decide on what you want to do when you have too many options. And
I mean, that's basically kind of what you have to do. You have to make up your mind on which games you're realistically going to play and what games you're realistically just not going to have the time to play and just push them to the side.
I think if you're so first world that's a real problem, that you might want to reconsider what the problem really is.
I mean, for somebody that enjoys video games like I do, like there's a ton of games that I've wanted to play. There are a ton of games that I'd love to have the time to sit down and complete and play and do everything.
I swear to God, if you start talking about Celeste again, I'm leaving.
No, I'm not.
I swear to God.
Horizon Forbidden West. I'd love to finish that game.
Not me.
But I've just accepted the fact that I'm not going to.
Well, it takes 70 hours?
It's like 70 hours to beat it. And then, God of War.
That's literally 3 days straight.
God of War Ragnarok. I'd love to play that too, but I just have accepted that I'm probably not going to play that game.
Yeah, here's a thought. Do you think that when God of War decided to use the term Ragnarok in that, they were trying to piggyback off of Thor?
No, because I think the release time for that was like way different.
Perhaps.
But it's something that has been really nice and like Spider-Man. I would have loved to play Spider-Man 2. That I don't think that's terribly long of a game. I just forgot about it because I didn't buy it when it came out.
Here's the problem, though. What is the answer?
To what?
To game fatigue.
I think it plays into what is killing the game industry. You're trying to push as many products, as many things. Like, there's so many studios that you're acquiring, like these big developers are acquiring and pushing out all of this content, and it's just pushing everything at you at 1,000 miles an hour. What would happen if instead of pushing, say Ubisoft pushed 20 games out this year, what if they did 10?
Why?
Because if you have 20 games and a quarter of them are actually good titles and the rest are just crap that aren't selling, that people just had no interest in playing, what if the 10 that you decided to focus on for that year were incredible works of art, and they are just getting all the praise. Everybody's talking about them. Everybody's playing them. They're on everybody's list of things to do, and everybody went and purchased it, and it's still getting buzz on the internet. Like, I feel like that was what it was like when we were younger, is when how many games came out in a year for the, old consoles, like the N64 or the PlayStation 1, like probably more than I'm thinking, but the amount of like quality titles were probably well, maybe not, but
I get what you're saying. I just don't know who can make him do it.
well, nobody's going to make them do it because it's all about just content. If one thing doesn't work, surely the other one will.
Who dat?
Oh, what's going on, Joe? Thanks for coming in to hang out. To combine both topics, maybe you... Oh, that heart's in the way. Maybe... Oh, that heart... To combine both topics, maybe you need... Yeah, there we go. Multitasking. Just play 4 games at once.
4 60-hour games of a day. So, I like the way this guy thinks, and it's nice to meet you. I don't know that I could do it. I would need more arms.
Speaking,
dude, I would need...
That's like trophy hunters that set up like their PS4, their PS Vita, and the PS3, and they play the same game all simultaneously so that they can get the platinum trophy for all 3 because they're separate trophy lists.
People do that?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a guy on YouTube, Mystic Ryan. He does a lot of PlayStation stuff now. He's like a spokesman for maybe not officially, but he does a lot of like PlayStation news updates, stuff like that. He did a 30-day 30 platinums challenge, so he had to get a platinum trophy every single day for 30 days to see if he could do it. And he literally did that with the Wolf Among Us. He sat there with his Vita and PS4 and PS3 and went through and got the platinum trophy for all 3 of them at the same time.
If you're watching this and you play the same game on multiple consoles simultaneously,
I've done that.
Please seek help.
I've done that. I've done that.
I'm referring you to a very good therapist.
I've done that.
Dude, like, I can think of 1,000 better things you could be doing.
But to be fair, they're not long games. They haven't been long games. They were very, very short games.
Are they called Celeste?
That's not a short game. And shut your mouth, dude. Celeste was so good.
Oh, my God.
And I will talk about it right now. Celeste was good.
And I forgot the pizzas. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, the Celeste pizzas.
Guess we'll just have to do it next week.
But I think that to bring the game industry out of like this rut that it's in of just everybody not making money on games, just put more focus on making actual quality operative working games that aren't full of just bugs and they don't work and there's all of this junk, this fluff, these side missions that don't matter, these cutscenes that make no sense, or cut 20 hours out of this game that don't even need to be in there.
I'd be very curious about how much they actually use when developing games to do defect detection. I mean, obviously testing is a thing, or at least it used to be. It's still a thing.
They made a whole movie.
It's still a thing, but you have different types of testing, like unit testing, where the developer themselves are actually testing their own code, and you can automate that in some cases, but that involves writing additional code to automate the test.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that works with game development. I get the feeling it probably doesn't.
It might. but it might not.
But they also have different tools that you can use for code coverage, and I guess that's dependent upon the unit test piece, really. But I don't know how they can implement that. I think whoever figures that part out, really streamlining the quality piece of game development, probably is going to have many, many millions of dollars one day.
You know what you know what's gonna really be weird is when they make AI that can do a lot of the stuff that some people are doing.
So once a large language model learns how to code, we may have a very big problem. I think that's I think it's like purpose driven that we haven't explored that, or at least have tried not to, for as far as I understand it, because that's the whole premise. If something is self-learning and able to think, and then you teach it how to code, and it eventually figures out how to code itself and redeploy itself.
That is a Black Mirror episode if I've ever heard it.
It's a nightmare.
Can you read that, Andy?
I think EA will... I am not reading that.
I think EA will start making sex bots that give loot boxes.
Damn it.
Oh, that's good.
Yo, that's... Oh, I wonder if... Do you think Rockstar did that with GTA 6?
That would be the time to do it. That would be the time.
Do you remember you remember GTA 3, the girls in the skirts?
Dude, I haven't played
where you
GTA
would like roll
3
up
in
to them
so long.
I'm not talking about that on here, but
dude, there's so many weird things that like I could see being in the future.
Oh God,
that are just like absolute. Oh man.
Do you remember? It was GTA 5, I think. Was it 5? The bathhouse. The one-way mirror in the bathhouse.
I don't. That doesn't ring any bells.
Oh, I gotta find that clip.
I played GTA 5 a good bit when it first came out, but I don't really remember much from that game, if I'm being honest. I remember the dude's son was like he wore like do-rags and stuff all the time, and he was like was he on like social media, like a influencer kind of thing, or was that it? It was Michael.
Something like that. Michael.
It was Michael, who was like
Michael. Trevor.
Trevor is like the white trash trailer park dude, and then
Hey.
what was the other guy's name? Michael, Trevor. I don't remember his name. I did like that in that game though, where you could switch between the three. So it like made you play like three different characters.
That was cool. That was very cool.
So, do you think that console sales will decline in the future?
I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about the other day about whether, a console's even a thing. If it's in the cloud.
True, yeah. I mean,
is it really a
with
decline?
With Xbox getting out of hardware, which I don't know if that's a for sure thing yet or not, but if we do, it's tough to say where consoles are going to go, and like, when is cloud gaming going to be a thing that actually like works properly? How long do we have until cloud gaming is like functional enough to actually make a run at, putting consoles out?
Well, I think a lot of that's dependent upon, your internet connection at home. Like your connection now easily could support like streaming and streaming entire things, and it really, it goes back to that whole thing where it's like the input lag versus where it's processed at.
The input lag is that's the real problem, because when I play like it's like I think it's the Switch that with the emulator, some of them have like a noticeable input lag where it's just like I can't do this. It's the absolute worst. Or like playing a streamed game on like the PlayStation 5 where it only lets you stream the game from like the premium or whatever, and it's just it's the biggest pet peeve where I'm just I can't do it. I can't get over it. I can't try and adjust. It's just absolutely just no, close it. Stop.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why, like, so they call it a stream. You're streaming data over the internet.
Cloud gaming is that when you play Final Fantasy VII.
And it's just it's a continuous flow of data in both directions, and it's like a stream, that just constantly flows. And I don't know. That's above my pay grade right now. But
yeah, I think we're probably a couple of years out from cloud gaming making a real run for it. So I'd say like one more console that'll come out for, well, if Xbox continues, then they have one more console. But I think
if Xbox continues, then they're doing the wrong thing. But yeah, so console sales are like really driven by release, I think. Like, when it first comes out, I'm sure they sell a shit ton.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's the time
that tapers off until you get like that influx of people who want to buy it when the price goes down.
And it all comes in,
like,
in season too. Like you release it during the holidays, and then when the holidays are over, then you have like tax season where everybody gets their taxes and they want to go just blow all their money, and then you've got
that's not just tax season.
That's all the time, but like it's the same thing with like the car business. Is you have these times where you're super busy and then times where you're just kind of on the decline. But it's going to be weird when that time comes where consoles are no longer a thing that you need to like play games. And another thing too is like the battle between PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Like Nintendo's always going to do their own thing. They're not like, I don't even view them in the like console race, because like people that play Nintendo stuff, they're gonna play Nintendo stuff, and that's their thing. And like the big thing is PlayStation or Xbox or PC. Like those are the big three. But now, like,
well,
you
at this point,
get better frame rates and you get a much smoother experience on a PC, but you do have to pay up to get that. So when it comes to consoles, where it's like that sweet spot of like, okay, I can spend $500 on this console and I can hook it up to my already existing TV and get like 4K, 30 frames per second. Cool.
I think eventually it's just going to become unified.
Like, where do you go from there? 4K, you go 4K 60, you only improve the frame rate at that point with a console if you try and go like the next generation.
Oh, I'm sure there are other things you can do.
Because they have like 8K TVs, but who has an 8K TV? And why do you need an 8K TV?
Why do you need a 4K TV?
Well, they're so inexpensive now.
Oh, it's so cheap. Might as well buy it.
Well, the difference between 1080 and 4K is, definitely much different.
I do not have a 4K TV.
Do you watch a lot of TV?
No.
Then, of course, you don't need a 4K TV. Do you watch movies?
Sometimes.
Even
if I did use it, I wouldn't need a 4K TV. Dude, we had this thing. We grew up on this. Appreciate where you came from.
Obviously, I do.
No, you just like to have it there.
I play on this TV. Why do you think these chairs are here?
Do you really want... I digress.
I'm not a big, like, I need to watch it in 4K and I need to watch it in, you know...
I must have the large movie screen so that I can see Jonah Hill's P.E.K.K.A. in Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm not, like, the guy that needs the stuff to watch it, but, like, when I do sit down and I watch, like, a 4K movie in 4K, I'm like, cool, this is awesome.
I forget about the resolution as soon as somebody says something funny. I don't know. Like, so, like, if I'm watching Planet Earth, 4K would be cool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If I'm watching, you know, some guy run down the street with 2 jugs of Tide that are full of beer, don't need to be in HD.
Who's Riri?
Hi.
Hi, Riri. Riri? Riri? Ha, Riri.
Damn it, man. Why did you...
Yeah, I'm not a big quality guy, but, like, it is nice.
You're not a big quality guy.
Well, when it comes to, like, screen resolution...
We just bought a new camera so we could have a better resolution.
We needed that.
Okay, yes, we did. The GoPro was shit, but, you know, just... This is why you guys only have 3 people. I am about to go upstairs.
The daggers.
Damn.
Ruthless in these streets.
Holy hell. I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, certain things, yes, but, like, when it comes to, like, TV, like, it's not, like, the end-all be-all for me. I stream stuff constantly. Of course, the quality doesn't matter. Because if you're are you really getting 4K resolution if you're streaming off of a 4K platform? Probably not.
With 1.9 gigabits download speed, probably.
Yeah.
They don't even service my area. I tried.
Oh, did you?
I was mad.
They're probably making their way over.
Yeah, right.
Do you have... No, you don't have that over there. You don't have... Does Fios offer anything over by you?
Say it like that again and I'm going to slap you.
Fios?
It's Fios. And no.
Fios?
No, the only thing we have is...
Xfinity?
Yep.
They're coming up everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're in your area soon.
We got a new hospital.
Oh, dude, I wanted to show you this.
What? Please keep your pants on.
Where'd it go? So, I picked this up the other day. Dude, look how clean that is.
Is the game still in it?
Yeah. Look how clean that is.
I mean, that's crisp.
That's a crispy box.
It is Zelda 2, though. But
It is Zelda 2, but that is... That is a nice crispy box. And here's...
better than that waterlog thing you got.
Yeah, here's another one for you, too.
No. Let me see that. Where did you get this?
Game Traders Club.
You're never going to pull this... Wait, did you do the video?
No. That's coming up. I was going to try and film... We were going to try and film this weekend, but my aunt's coming down, so I think we might try it. Not the weekend after that, but maybe the weekend after that. What he's talking about, by the way, for the people that are watching...
Don't you dare.
I have it in the notes. So,
Where? I don't see it in the notes.
at the very bottom right there.
That's not notes. Take what off? Please take... What?
She said to take...
I am...
Oh, my...
Oh, God, I'm no good. I am spent. I am done. Chat has entered the room. And Andy has left the building. This is amazing.
Right? The box is pretty clean, too.
You can't even play this.
Why?
Dude, you cannot open this.
Yes, I can.
No. No.
Give the camera a little shot of that one.
This is pristine. If it was graded, it would be very highly graded.
I don't
just
know
so they
all
could.
that.
Yeah, it would. Just so they could screw you out of more money.
Speaking of, actually, no. Before I get off topic, we are planning a produced type of video.
Tell them what it is.
I'm giving my wife $160 cash to go into a game store and buy one game for the NES, the Super NES, the N64, the PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4.
How much you giving her?
She has to get a game for each of those systems within the $160 budget. Because $160 is how much PlayStation Premium costs. So I'm trying to get her, who has not much game knowledge at all. She's going to go, no help from any of us, and she's going to pick out what she thinks are the best games. Then we're going to come back here. Then we're going to review what games she chose and if they're good or if they're absolute trash.
We clearly did not talk this idea through well enough.
Yes, we did.
I would just give her a C note and tell her to get 5 games.
Wait, what?
Give her $100, 5 games. Can't repeat consoles. They all have to be a different console.
I mean, that's basically what it is. And
except you've complicated the hell out of it, and she's going to come to you confused 3 times and be like, "What am I supposed to do again?"
No, it's just go for, like, they have sections of the store. Go from NES through the PS4.
Is your wife watching?
Yes. Then give me 160 to shop.
I need you to understand that if you do not come back with at least one Need for Speed game, we're going to have a problem.
So that comes out to about $20 per game. So she gets a $20 budget to get all of those games.
That's exactly what we do with the C Note and 5 games. I'm just doing this to be a pain in your butt, but
so that's.
I like the idea. I think it's cool.
We're going to my local store that I enjoy going to.
Which happens to not be local at all.
It's really not.
It's so far away.
It's worth the drive, though, because I really like the dudes that work there. They're really nice, really good dudes.
Please don't admit that again.
But that'll be coming up. I don't know when we're gonna push it out, but
oh, that was Jack.
But that's gonna be in the works. So keep an eye out for that. I'm gonna push my editing abilities on that one. I'm gonna try and do a good job, guys. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes.
I'm so disturbed.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes. He likes dudes. Shh. The things me and Andy do behind closed doors is between me and Andy.
Whoa, I don't know what he's talking about.
I'll show him I'll leak the text messages.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I think guys are cool.
Meat and potatoes, Andy. Let's get into this great segment here. 1996 to 2000 movies. Last week we did 1990 to 1995, and it is rough to try and figure those out, but we're making it work. There was a ton of good movies in this time period. They're playing with something up there. There's a ton of good movies in this time period, and if I were to list them all, we would be down here for like 7 hours. So I shrunk the list. We agreed and worked together on these lists. So you can't give me shit this time, Andy.
96. I'm going to.
How? What did I miss there?
We'll get to it.
Okay. So 1996, we have 4 honorable mentions. And picking the top 4 for these were tough. Just to reiterate that. The honorable mentions are Beavis and Butthead Do America. I mean, dude.
Unit.
All right, where's the unit?
My unit?
Unit. Oh, he's going to score.
Don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Message.
If you haven't seen this movie, the Wayans brothers are absolutely comedy gold in this movie. It is so ridiculous, but it is so damn funny. Scream, classic, absolute classic slasher. You can't go wrong if you're watching Scream. But it's not on my top 4. And Space Jam. Space Jam, if you haven't seen it, get real. Michael Jordan in his prime. So the top 4 are Twister,
Whirlybird.
Tin Cup,
4.
The Cable Guy,
Hey, I'm from Comcast.
and Happy Gilmore.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
I mean, Twister, me and Alicia just watched that again for, I would say like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And I forgot how good that movie is.
That's not a moon. It's a space station. Dude, that movie was so great. And it ruined my childhood in so many ways.
What about Tu Wong Fu?
Now I know what he's talking about.
What?
Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything. It's Patrick Swayze.
Ah.
That is a good one. I don't know if I would put it in the top 4, but I think it should probably get an honorable mention.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Dude, it's Patrick Swayze.
I mean, Patrick Swayze is fantastic.
As soon as Patrick Swayze enters the building.
Which, I've realized that, because as I'm, doing research for these lists, I'm like, man, I wonder where this movie is. And I'll go, and it's, pre-1990, so we are probably going to have to, because one of my favorite movies of all time is from 1989.
Yo, RuPaul was in it.
Major League.
Troll Away. I like Trolls.
Yeah, we're not...
Anna Kendrick does the voice for the one of Trolls, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Justin Timberlake.
I don't need to hear about him.
So, and I mean, Happy Gilmore. They're making a second one. It's going to be on Netflix. I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Chubbs.
Chubbs
would be so disappointed.
Speaking of Happy Gilmore,
Happy?
I watched. It was I think it was Good when I was watching a video of theirs on YouTube. They were playing, and the guy that played Shooter McGavin was on the course ahead of them, and he came over. Well, they went over and we're talking to him. He came over and did a guest putt, and he sank it, and he did the shooter.
Hot shooter.
It was great.
Do you remember Rose Matter?
The band? I have their CD.
Shooter's Gonna Choke?
Oh, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Wasn't the
Dude,
the
yeah!
cover of their CD was
Yes!
Yeah,
with the
okay.
pants down.
Yeah. Okay. It's between the Cable Guy and
My
Happy
fingers
Gilmore for
hurt.
me.
My fingers hurt.
I think
Mister! Hey, mister!
I love
Sorry, lady.
Ben Stiller in that, where he's just like, you You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.
Oh, your fingers hurt?
I always forget that he's in that movie until he shows up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. When he drops the air conditioning on the lady outside.
I think I just killed her.
You might want to get someone to check on that Mr. lady. It's Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the problem really is that, like, Tin Cup was really good, but it wasn't up there with them. Twister is probably the close second for me, but Happy Gilmore, yeah.
You can't.
It's iconic.
You can't go wrong.
Like, that's generational.
Yeah. It's just one of those movies that will just never, ever get old.
Neither will Helen Hunt in a white tank top.
The price is wrong, Bobby. When he gets in the fight with Bob Barker.
Who's the bitch now, bitch?
1997. This is a much shorter list because apparently 1997 they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna like take a break. But there were some big movies that came out. The honorable mention is The Fifth Element, which I haven't watched in a long time, but that movie is a classic. I've watched it probably 1,000 times.
What is it? Earth, water, wind, fire. What's the fifth element?
I don't fucking know. Watch the movie.
Electricity? I figured you knew. You watched the movie.
I just said I didn't watch it in a long time, but it's an absolute classic. Bruce Willis?
No, you're trying to go back to the 80s? Call Michael J. Fox. He's got the DeLorean.
So the top four... Titanic.
There was definitely room for both of them on that damn door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Titanic would have been better if it was about him and a cat.
You know, I want to know how Leo didn't get, like... He didn't win his Grammy until The Revenant? Right? How do you... Is it Grammy or Oscar? Oscar. Is that the... Whatever the big award for actors is. He didn't get it till like The Revenant. How do you not give it to the dude in Titanic? That was a masterpiece of a movie.
I mean, Titanic was huge when it came out. Like, it was a big deal. It came, and I think it was actually on 2 VHS cassettes because it was so damn
VHS.
long.
I have it somewhere over there.
It's not something you want to admit in public, but
dude, it's Titanic. It's a classic. I own it on DVD too.
It's good. It is good. The soundtrack is better than the movie, in my opinion.
I mean, the scene where they're on the front of the boat.
So romantic.
Why don't we do that?
I think they still have one of those playground boats down at the...
We went to the Titanic Museum when we went to Vegas.
Apparently, the Titanic never really sank.
Conspiracies.
The theory is that the guy owned 2 boats, and the one was old and decrepit, so he pitched that one as being the Titanic, while the new one was okay, and then used the old one for the insurance money. But
the next one is Liar Liar. Probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie.
I hold myself in contempt.
Dude.
This pen is
royal blue. Oh,
and then the scene where he's smashing
your cholesterol, fatty.
Weight 140.
Yeah,
in your bra. Dude, it's the toilet seat. The toilet seat.
I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? Yeah, that movie is so classic.
I think my daughter's coming close to seeing that one. So.
The next one is Chasing Amy, one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. You've seen that, correct? I would hope you've seen that. I mean, Jason Lee, Ben Affleck. I actually met. It's like Jodie Taylor something. Her name's really long. We actually met her at Monster Mania.
Maybe if you invited other people to go with you, other people would meet people too.
Well, you got to tell me that that's something you'd be interested, Andy. I can't read your mind. Next time we go, would you like me to invite you?
I'm going to bite off your head and piss down your throat.
And the last one is Flubber. I mean,
Robin Williams
Robin
again?
Williams. You can't go wrong with Robin Williams.
No, that man...
Absolute gold human being. So which one are you picking in the top 4? I think we've probably made it pretty clear which one we're probably picking.
Liar, liar.
Liar, liar.
Titanic was great, but
Yeah.
Liar, liar was like, that was Jim Carrey at his best.
Oh, man, yeah.
That might be his best movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely up there. So 1998, we've got 2 honorable mentions. We've got Something About Mary, and we've got the Rugrats movie, which I just watched. We just watched with Lydia.
The first one?
Yes.
Where they go to Vegas?
No.
Vacation, all you ever
Is it the
wanted. Or is the first one Dill Pickles?
Yes, that's the first one.
Or is it the same one?
It's Go Wild. Rugrats Go Wild. They get that little Reptar cart because they put dill in it, and it's supposed to get shipped. It's supposed to get shipped away, but they end up going out the front door with it, and they get lost in like the woods. So they get lost in the woods, and Tommy and them have to keep dill and stuff like that. And Tommy has this battle where he doesn't want his brother anymore, and he goes to leave him. And then they have this moment that's actually really sad, where the monkey, they go into like a tree, and Tommy's lays down, and Dill wants to take all the blanket, and he lays down with him, and Dill takes the blanket, and Tommy's like taking like this little sliver of blanket, and then Dill finally like shows Tommy like some like feelings or whatever, and he actually like they share the blanket, and that's like their big turning point as big brother, little brother. It's a really like moment where you're just like, damn.
It's still not as good as Brave Little Toaster. I will fight you.
The top 4 is Saving Private Ryan. I mean, one of the best war movies. Get off of your phone, you scallywag.
I'm dealing with some stuff.
When aren't you dealing with some stuff? Deal with it after the podcast.
No.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. I think it's probably my favorite war movie.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
It's a good one, but The Patriot?
No, this is definitely better than The Patriot.
U-571.
This is probably better, yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
I don't really consider that a war movie.
Black Hawk Down?
This still beats that, yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this movie has just so many, like, good moments in it. You know, storming the beaches, Vin Diesel getting capped by the sniper, then the other sniper shooting through the dude's scope.
He did get his melon popped.
Basketball, which, dude, I could watch that movie so many times, and it never, ever, ever gets old. You've
Never seen it.
What? You have never seen that movie?
Never will.
The fuck you won't. If we're going to continue this friendship, you're going to see it.
What's that look like? An execution? Damn it, man, I'm trying to save an innocent life! I'm giving her all I've got, Captain.
I love you. Always have.
Clear!
Do they play with an orange ball?
No.
What's it about then?
It's Matt and Trey Parker from the creators. It's the creators of South Park. They're in their driveway, and they're just they're talking about how they're going to pay their bills or whatever, and they end up creating a game called basketball, where it's baseball and basketball combined. And they end up like making it a huge sport, like it gets its own thing on ESPN, and they become massive superstars, and their team's called the Beers. And
I'll consider it.
dude, it is a classic, an absolute classic.
What's next?
Waterboy.
Yes!
Classic Adam Sandler at his peak. My favorite scene in that movie.
Mama says they are the devil.
Wait. Is that from Waterboy? Where the dude gets the golf ball comes in the window and hits him, and he's like, ah! He gets hit with the golf ball in the head. Is that from Waterboy?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's from Waterboy. I cried and cried. Yes, because it's when the coach is like, I cried and cried like a 10-year-old girl.
I cried like a 10-year-old girl.
Water's better.
Gatorade. And then the last one is The Big Lebowski.
The dude abides.
It's a classic.
Market Zero. Dude, John Goodman, 9mm. Doesn't get any better.
It's a classic.
I think we almost had a couple of those incidents this year during League. Somebody's getting ready to pull some heat. It's like, I don't know if we really want to do that.
Which one are you picking? That's a tough one.
Waterboy.
I think I'm picking basketball. Dude, once you watch that movie, you'll understand just with how absurd some of those moments in that movie are.
Mama said Vicky is the devil.
Everything's the devil to you, mama. 1999. The 3 honorable mentions. Big Daddy. Yet again, Adam Sandler at his prime. Absolute classic movie. Microsoft's down 3 points, and he spikes the can into the ground. I can wipe my own ass. The Sixth Sense. I mean, Mel Gibson. But yeah, that had Mel Gibson in it, right? And I forget that kid's name. He was in a lot of movies from that time period. I think he was in a Jim Carrey movie too. That's absolute classic. You know, the kid. I see dead people. I see dead. Then Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
That's funny until a child actually says that to you.
Yeah. If my daughter ever came down,
It wasn't mine.
I see dead people. I'd be
It was not mine.
Oh, you no longer live here now. Bye. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie, and it's not my first choice if I have to choose a Star Wars piece of content to watch. But it did start the original trilogy, and it started the story of Anakin Skywalker, and that storyline is by far one of my favorite storylines in Star Wars because it made that moment in Revenge of the Sith just chef's kiss. Now to the top 4. We've got She's All That, like the teen movie.
There she goes. That was Rachel Lee Cook, right?
Yes.
Teenage crush right there.
This is like the atypical teenage movie. Like, if someone says teenage movie...
That was Rachel Lee Cook and Freddie Prinze, right? Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Yes. It's the Janie... or I always say Janie, but that's...
It's the one it was based off.
That's not another teen movie. Laney Boggs. Yeah. Boondock Saints, which, dude, that movie, me and my friends used to quote that all the time. all the time.
Boondocks was good.
The best part is where they're in that room with all the weapons, and he's like, I'm gonna take some rope, and he's like, what are you gonna need rope for? And he's like, you always see the action movies, they always need rope. And then they're in the ductwork, and the ductwork gives out, and they hang by the rope, and they shoot everyone upside down. And then they get up, and he's like, what are you going to need that stupid fucking rope for? Dude, absolute. Then they mess with Rocco. They pull him in, and they hold him down to the ground at gunpoint, and they pull out his gun. And he's like, it's a fucking six-shooter. He's like, what were you going to do? Laugh the other two to death? Funny, man. God, I love that movie. American Pie. What I want to know,
dude, like,
is why do we not get like movies like this anymore?
I can tell you exactly why we don't get movies like this anymore.
I mean, you can't.
Do you have any idea the quantity of lawsuits that would be thrown around with some of the shit that they say in American Pie?
These movies were some of the funniest movies back then. I mean,
well, yeah, people could take a joke.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, and Fight Club, which, dude, one of my favorite movies of all time. Absolute perfection. There was literally a night where I watched it 5 times in a row. I literally just watched it 5 times in a row. It's so good.
Can
Edward
we just
Norton,
start one?
Brad Pitt in that movie? God damn, dude.
Oh, wow.
What?
Oh, wow.
Bro. Brad Pitt in that movie?
He's so sexy.
In that movie? I know.
Not just that movie. It's fucking Brad Pitt.
Dude, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
Dude, how old is he? Like, he's probably like what, like mid-50s? Maybe pushing 60?
Maybe.
Dude, whatever he's on.
I mean, I'm sure he's pushing something.
I want in. I want in on what he's smoking. I can tell you I'm picking Fight Club. There, I don't think there really is another pick.
American Pie.
I can respect it, but Fight Club, dude.
Dude. Those 4 women literally became the face of America for how long?
Yeah.
And
they were like
the whole concept.
This one time at band camp?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's still fun.
And then what he did to the pie.
What she did with the flute.
Fight Club is the GOAT.
Yes,
but I
Joe.
pick American Pie.
Dude,
Stifler.
God, like
Stifler.
The whole concept of that movie is
Dude.
just like, it still like rattles my brain every
Which
time
one?
I watch it. Fight Club.
Yeah, no, that's wild. But also Stifler.
Yeah,
The idea, like, he started the Your Mom stuff.
Dude, that you could never get away with that now. That was like
Oh.
huge when we were in
They're
high
still,
school.
they're still ripping it in elementary school.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
I heard all about the roast of that yesterday. So
Really? Interesting. Because, like, I remember you'd be, like, walking down the hall in high school, and you'd say something, you'd yell something to your friend, and it's like, your mom does that, and you're just like, all right. Okay.
yeah, see, for me it was like, so my mom is actually relatively young in context.
Mm-hmm.
So in high school she was even younger, and you know, it was popular opinion that my mom was
Dude,
easy on the eyes.
there was a girl in my high school who her mom would come in and volunteer all the time. I think if I think back on it now, dude, she had it the absolute worst because her mom was like model level hot. And everybody just told her that anytime they say. She'd be down the hall, and you'd hear someone from the other end of the building be like, "Your mom's hot!" And it was just a thing. And, dude, I feel so bad for her.
What's her mom's name?
Her mom? I don't know.
You'll have to give me her name later so I can figure out who her mom is. I was like, bro, I'll see you after third period. Your mom sucks.
So the last year for this week is the year 2000.
Yeet! Skirt!
We've got 4 honorable mentions here. We got Little Nicky, which Adam Sandler in his prime. I think this is a relatively underappreciated.
Put the chicken in your mouth and let the meat slide down your throat hole.
This is I don't think this movie gets as much praise as it should.
It's good.
It's good. Dude, Where's My Car? Which I
sucked.
What?
Okay, it was all right.
It was more than all right. Dude, I actually just watched this movie not too long ago. And
That's the one with Shibby, right?
Yeah, Shibby.
Shibby.
Dude, when they're trying to figure out, they're trying to remember the night or whatever, and they are walking, and the hot girl from school or whatever comes over, and she's talking to whoever Ashton Kutcher's character is, and
okay,
she's talking to him, and she's like, "Do you remember what we did last night?" Or no, he asks where his car was, or if she knows where his car is or whatever, and she's like,
Have you seen my car?
Well, I saw it last night. I mean, I saw the back seat.
Oh, I'm talking about the whole thing.
grabs his hands and puts them on her boobs, and he's big wide-eyed, and then they him and the dude, oh fuck, what's his name, Scott, the guy that plays Stifler in American Pie. They look at each other, and they're like, "Dude, you touch Christy Boner's hoo-hoos."
Hoo-hoos?
And the tattoos. I mean, that's an iconic scene.
Sweet! What about mine? Dude, what does mine say? Sweet! What about mine? Dude, what does mine say? Sweet!
Absolute classic. Final Destination. That's a everybody knows when they're following a log truck there to keep their distance. And Me, Myself, and Irene, which I think is a pretty underrated Jim Carrey movie.
it is. It's a good one.
Anything where Jim Carrey gets to play a two different characters that are way different from each other, and one's
schizophrenic.
when one's calm and stuff, and then he switches to the crazy outlandish Hank. Dude.
Hank?
The top 4.
Alrighty then.
The top 4 are Meet the Parents.
Woo!
Dude.
Pamela Martha Fokker.
Anytime I think of Meet the Parents, I just think of, I have nipples, Jack. Can you milk me?
It's Greg.
Greg, that's right.
Greg. Gaylord.
Gaylord Fokker.
Greg did take the MCATs, Dad. They're right here.
Scary Movie.
You know, I gotta let you know.
I think I read that they're rebooting these, which will be interesting.
What you doing? Chilling. Killing.
I love when he does the rap, and he's swinging the hook all around.
I'm gonna slash cash, cut a hole in your ass.
Yeah, play ball all over these walls and play tennis with your balls. And then he stops, and Shorty's like,
"Oh shit, son!
Dude.
Oh shit, son!"
Peace.
Yo. That was the illest rhyme I ever seen, son.
I think it's Scary Movie 2, where the big
My good hand!
the big pot plant rolls him up and smokes him. Marlon Wayans plays Shorty. I mean, dude, those movies are so good. So good. And
Like, oh my god, it's the killer guy. How fucking perfect that you're here right now.
Ray, the guy that's, he might be gay, he might not be gay. He always, dude.
Nah, bro.
The shit that he does in that movie is so good.
I can do it myself.
Oh, that's David Cross when he plays the guy in the wheelchair. That's the second one. That's the second one.
Now you gotta stuff the turkey with your good hand.
I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna lick the shit out of that.
Oh, you're a fine one.
The next one is The Replacements. If you haven't heard of this movie, it is by far one of the best Keanu Reeves movies of all time, and I will die on that hill. It's a football movie. It's fantastic. Watch it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, that might be Keanu Reeves' best movie. Which still leaves it below the 100 mark.
No. And then we have another football movie that you may have heard of. Remember the Titans. What a we go from joking and about, all the
left side
from Scary Movie, strong side. From Remember the Titans. I mean, it's crazy to me that I forget his name in Remember the Titans. The dude that gets put into the wheelchair.
The one that crushes his Camaro.
Yeah.
And because he gets hit.
Yes. He is Opie in Sons of Anarchy. I think I forget his name in the movie, but
he reminds me of Buzz from Home Alone.
Does yeah. Dude, Remember the Titans is probably one of the best sports movies of all time. It's got to be up there.
It's definitely in my top 5.
It's up there. The whole concept of the movie is how segregation used to be, and then they start to blend that, and everybody starts to actually get along, and then him and it's the dude that I want to know his name from the movie. They become like brothers, and
that movie should be shown in every middle school and high school.
I agree that movie.
That
movie I feel like has kind of been forgotten about.
Yeah, and it would really help right now.
That's a really good. I'm gonna have to watch that again soon.
Maybe if you invite me over outside of this shit, we could watch it together.
Maybe if I wasn't busy, Andy. What are you doing this weekend?
We'll talk about that after.
Good answer. What are you picking out of these for? This is a tough one.
Kind of. Meet the Parents. I mean,
actually, Alicia has a good point. I think I did watch that when I was in school.
We may have too. I know they don't now. They definitely won't in my school district. Yeah, Meet the Parents. It's just foundational. So, you look at the rest of them, Remember the Titans is big, real big, but I don't think it's Meet the Parents big. I see Meet the Parents as being, foundational for so many concepts that just perpetuated pop culture after that. The cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That line that you quoted that I'm not going to requote because I don't want to steal your thunder. But also, well, Greg, when you have a toilet that doesn't flush and a septic tank that's nearly full, you might have a hell of a problem. That was life advice.
I'm gonna have to go with The Replacements because that is one movie that I have watched from like when I was probably from when I was a preteen to through teenage years, and I still watch to this day. It's just one of those movies that like I watched, and then when I was going back, watching old movies or whatever, that was just one that every time it was on, I just watched it. I couldn't not watch it. And actually, Barstool Sports, bless their souls, because they have a shirt that they made that is a quote from the movie when they're in the playoff game.
Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Falco, number 16 on the back. So
And
I
it's
was like,
overpriced.
I need that. I need that shirt. Dude, I love that movie so much. It's such a good movie. And I don't think it gets the glory it deserves. The dude that played the scientist that turns into the lizard in Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. He's the kicker in that in The Replacements, and he's like a real scrawny guy, and he's like bad into debt and gambling, and they want him to throw the game because he's kicking a field goal for the one game, and Falco knows that they don't want to throw the game, so he goes to kick the field goal, and Falco just pulls the ball and does a fake and runs it into the end zone. And it helps him out and stuff like that. Dude, it's such a good movie.
It would probably be an amazing movie if Keanu Reeves wasn't in it.
I think it's a good movie because Keanu. There's two. See, I'm not the biggest Keanu Reeves fan. Well, I wasn't at the time. I wasn't a big Keanu Reeves fan. But there are two movies of Keanu Reeves that are some of my favorite movies, and that is The Replacements, and the other one is Hardball. Please tell me you've seen Hardball.
Yes.
That movie is so good. What?
Moneyball.
Yes, Moneyball's good, but Hardball. G-Baby.
Keanu Reeves.
G-Baby.
Keanu Reeves.
G-Baby. And the Cucumbas.
Use AI to remove Keanu Reeves and it'll be better.
What is your deal with Keanu Reeves? Do you like the John Wick movies? You suck. How do you not like the John Wick movies? You're not an action movie guy, are you?
Oh, I love The Transporter.
Of all movies to like, you choose The Transporter?
Bro, he's a badass.
Isn't that Jason Statham?
I think so.
But still, John Wick? Well, who is this man?
I don't like Keanu Reeves. I don't like the...
I'm really not the biggest Keanu Reeves fan, but I am because some of his movies are some of my favorite. The Matrix I still don't get. I will never understand those movies.
I think that's where the hang up is for me.
I
I just see him as...
I never really cared for the Matrix movies. But next week we'll get into 2001 through 2005, which, dude, I feel like these lists are just gonna get harder and harder during those, at least during those years.
Yeah, well, that was the best time to be alive.
Oh man,
that was the best time to be alive,
those lists
except for the war in Iraq. I mean,
those lists are gonna be. How are we gonna narrow those down?
I have already offered insight on this. I don't think we should be doing 4 and 4. I think we should be doing 6 and 6, and then you pick one, and maybe like for 1 year we get to pick 2.
I like having to pick one because it puts us in this little moment where we're just like, shit, how are we supposed to choose?
And I'm fine with that. I just think I think
like
more options is. I don't think 6 options is too many. Like 4 options is cool. It's a nice I get the quartered number, but
I'll consider it if they get too difficult, which they're right on the cusp now. But with 2001 through 2006, those are going to be rough.
Well, yeah, and by the time.
And 2006 to 2010 probably is going to be rough too.
Dude, that's super bad. Like one of those years is super bad. I promise you. I think it's 2007.
Yeah.
Maybe 2008.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of movies from there where it's going to be like, how am I supposed to narrow this down?
I don't know, but I got to catch a glimpse of these warlocks.
Did you hear the news about GameStop?
They're in the news again.
So I was in GameStop just recently, and I was talking to one of the guys, one of the salesmen in there, and we were talking about stuff, and he was saying that corporate was just there, like checking out the store and stuff, and they were talking about their plans, and he was talking about they were getting into graded collectibles, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, like seems like a bad idea to get into, but you know, whatever, it's GameStop, they make a lot of bad decisions. So
lately
I was just like, like maybe this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he's just kind of like whatever. Just watched a video today. GameStop is now buying graded Pokemon cards.
Who grades them?
They're only buying, I think they're only buying PSA. I think that's the only ones they're buying. They're not buying from Beckett, and
these come with paperwork.
Well, it's got like the label on the casing around the card. But
do you pay to get the card graded?
Yeah, you send the card to PSA.
Kiss my ass.
They grade it.
Not happening.
A lot of people are really questionable about doing that. A lot of people are scared when they say, dude, there's people that have sent probably $500,000 worth of product out to get graded, and they haven't seen it in 6 months. And, 8 months go by, and they finally get it back, and they're, in the slabs with all the grades. That was during, peak shutdowns and stuff, because, that's when Pokemon cards really started picking up again. That's when everybody was in the new game graded. Everybody was doing graded collectibles and a sealed product and all this.
So what does it cost to get something graded?
I think it depends. I think it depends on what you send out. But here's the issue with GameStop getting into graded collectibles. You can easily fake those slabs.
I'm sure, unless they have some sort of holograph or something like that.
If you've got these young kids working at these GameStops, are you going to train them? Are you going to train every employee at every location to be able to spot these fakes and stuff?
I think the bigger deal is who the hell's going to buy a graded card from a GameStop.
Well,
holy shit, it's a AAA Charizard, man.
Well,
it's only $500.
Because some card shops do carry some graded cards, but usually if they're carrying a graded card, it's a high dollar card. And a lot of times to buy graded collectibles and to buy these kinds of things, these high dollar items, you have to either know somebody or you have to buy them from eBay or whatever other service that you use, which is sketchy. A lot can go wrong if you're not careful and you don't know what to do. But to have a brick and mortar location that you can go to, you can see the product, you can look at it, you can check it out for yourself. And if you're into the hobby and that's your thing, then you can see it before you buy it and make sure that the thing that you're buying is a legitimate thing.
So grading pisses me off in the worst way. To begin
I'm not
with.
a fan of it either, but I can respect it in a like, you know, that's your thing. Like I can understand, like when it comes to cards and stuff, like I can understand like graded cards and stuff. Like that's I don't. It's like the buying the most premium version of the thing that you're trying to get. You know, if you get a PSA 10, like that is a absolute mint perfect card with 0 defects, and it is in this nice coffin basically that is just like it. I mean, when you have a
why do I
shelf
need
of,
somebody to tell me that?
I mean, yeah, sure, but if it's just like
The only purpose is to drive up value.
basically, yeah. But it's also you can argue that it's also like preserving the product too. Like if it's as long as it remains in that case, nothing is going to prevent that. Nothing is going to damage that card. Nothing's going to that is not going to deteriorate in that case. So as long as it remains in that case, it's not going to deteriorate unless you know, I don't know how sturdy these cases are, but if you drop it into water, like I don't know if that
Also,
I don't know if they're waterproof or what have you.
This is literally a card.
Yeah, I mean, you can't understand it because you don't collect anything remotely close to a card.
I don't think it's a matter of understanding it. I think it's just like, you know, the value of anything is dictated by how many people want it, right?
To an extent, yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's also things that are just like a piece of history,
right? And I think
it comes down to like preserving that history. Like if you like, I don't agree with grading games. Like I don't look at it as in like a thing that I would personally do. But I can understand if that's the way that you collect, because everybody that collects wants to have the cleanest copy of whatever game that you're collecting. Like when I found that Zelda 2 and I looked at the box, I was like, man, this thing is like minty. This thing is clean. Like this, I can't not pick this up. I have to pick this up because if I'm like all the times that I've seen it, it's been kind of ratty and not in the greatest condition. So when you find something that's like clean and in great shape, great condition, it draws you to it, which I can understand. Like in especially with cards, like grading cards and stuff. Like I can understand because you're preserving that condition.
Are you?
Yeah, because it's in that slab. It's not gonna.
Yeah, but that's not the point of the grading. Like
No,
you can do that
well,
without the grading.
Like it depends on how you collect, really. Like there are some people that truly collect graded cards not for the value. I mean, there is like an investment, but like those prices fluctuate so much. It's not a safe investment.
So I think the grading is more to like introduce a third party that says, yes, this is what this is. So you can't argue with it.
Well, you kind of have to have some sort of mediation in that because
no, you don't.
Well, it's the same as you. I just lost my train of thought.
Unless this is a situation where people are going back and forth, like with each other, like this isn't. Well, this is dog-eared a little bit. This has a little delamination.
It's basically like a certificate of authenticity. That's
for a card.
Yes, that's basically what it is. It's because they look at the centering, like how center is the card in the borders. They look at if there's any damage around, like, you know, if it's a foil card or like if there's any like silver foiling showing on the edges. Is there any ink runs or any imperfections in like the ink on the card? Like they're not looking at it and being like, oh, it's slightly bent or curved, so deduct a point, or, you know, like you could send a card out to try and get a 10, like you could literally pull it out of the pack wearing a glove, put it in a sleeve, send it out to PSA, and it comes back a PSA 8.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing: if depending on, you know, what it looks like or what these imperfections are in the grade, you could send it back, and it could come back at 10. Like
it's very arbitrary.
There are errors with, you know, you are having a human look at something and judge whether or not it's a 8 or 9 or a 10.
They've been doing this for baseball cards forever, haven't they?
I don't know if it's been like super big among collectors. Like now it probably is, because the more, once you have a grading company that's like building its reputation and is actually reputable to make good grades and stuff, like you can grade anything now. Ever since the shutdowns, like people have been grading literally just CIB games. Like if I wanted to, I could send this Diablo 2 out to get graded.
This is legitimately...
Why would I do that? I don't know, because it's just it's open.
This is legitimately a business where the perceived value is the only reason the business works.
It can be argued. Like I can see your point. Like I can understand that. But in a collectibles market,
you or I can sit here and look at any trading card and tell you all of the stuff that they're looking at just by looking at it.
Yeah.
It's literally a form of arbitration. Like preemptive arbitration, where you have a third party who's making a decision on something, so that way you guys don't have to sit there and go back and forth over it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what they want to do, it's your money, but
it's just having a reputable source. It's literally just getting a certificate of authenticity. Like the minute that card gets put into that slab with that grade, it, you know, does whatever it does to the value of that card, being, you know, mint condition, non-graded to now graded, you know, an 8, 9, or a 10, what have you.
Can it come out of the slab?
If you open it, yeah. But you have to like actually break the slab to open it.
So once it's
like when you
it's
like,
sealed.
there's no opening it and closing it and and keeping it like that. It's no, you have to like break open that slab to get that card out, and there's no putting the card back in the slab and
potentially cracking it.
Yeah, like that case has to physically break for you to get that card out. Like you have to pry it open. So like literally, like they call it putting it in a coffin, because literally the only way to get it out is to legitimately break the case to pull it out. So like most of the time when something is graded, it's in there. It's not going anywhere.
It's a wild concept for a piece of cardboard.
I mean, you can do it with a ton of stuff. People do it with coins. You can get coins graded. You can. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest
stamps. I'm sure
that's like the biggest way to collect coins. Anytime I've seen a coin collector, they have all the grades and they're all in slabs and stuff. So I mean, I don't know the lengths that they go to grade, like to grading those coins and whatever they do, but I think it's just a terrible thing for GameStop to get into. Like,
I agree. Well, and it's an appraisal, really, without a number.
Getting like people that bought graded, like sealed games back during like peak COVID, they lost their ass on those. For the people that actually bought games, not the artificially inflated prices from the auction houses, but the people that actually tried to like buy these games and be like, yes, it's an investment. Dude, you lost your ass on those. Like, not just thousands of dollars, like hundreds of thousands of dollars they've lost, because that market crashed hard.
So,
hard.
Like, the weird thing for me, I don't know. I'm very curious about it. I'm interested in learning more about the advantages and the disadvantages and where it like really grounds, because
yeah, I don't think, when it comes to grades and grading.
Yeah, I don't think it has a place in games.
I don't think it does either.
Like,
I think the only time that it has a place is with sealed product.
Yeah, and maybe
because you're and it's only for preserving that seal, preserving the game in that current state where it's a sealed game and you want to keep it that way.
Well, and also, like, we went back to the whole arbitration before it becomes an issue thing. I think, if you're dealing things very frequently, like coins or something.
I got both cleaning up the toys.
I think that, if it's like coins, they're very heavily traded. Like, oh, I'll trade you this, I'll buy this, you'll buy this.
Yeah.
Maybe Pokemon cards are the same way now. I didn't think they were getting to that point.
Well,
but
here's the thing. Like, Pokemon cards started taking off again during COVID. Like, when everybody was shut down and locked up, like, they skyrocketed. Like, it was insane. I know people that got in, like, just out of nostalgia, just by chance that they were blowing up again, and they made a killing. New sealed product.
Here's the thing, though.
Old cards, stuff like that. Like, dude, they made a killing because it was that popular.
Here's the thing, though. You and I did that same shit when we were kids and didn't need somebody to tell us that this was a AAA Charizard.
No, but that wasn't you weren't getting into, like, high-level collectibles.
I still don't consider that a high-level collectible.
It is.
How?
There are people that literally...
If that's how much you value it,
look,
great,
there's literally, like, high-level Wall Street guys that buy sealed Magic product, sealed graded... not sealed graded, like, graded cards and, like, non-graded cards that are on, like, the reserve list and, all these high-dollar cards, and they just literally throw them in a safe. And they just let them sit. They forget that they're there, and they just let them sit. And then when it's time to cash in, they pull those out, and they're like, okay. Or if they see any market changes, they, will decide whether or not it's time to liquidate or if it's time to just hold. Some people look at these things like investments because it's liquid assets. It's not sitting there trading stocks. It's the same concept, except this is just a physical thing. And the market rides just the same. It can skyrocket to the moon, and then you can sell when it's hot. Or you can hold and hope that it goes higher, or you can sell when you think you need to sell, and if it skyrockets, then you missed out. It's no different than trading stocks. It's just a physical thing you can hold.
Well, the big difference is that stocks are actually run by a person, and the company can make decisions that influences their share.
But
the card can't do anything. It sits there, and its value is
the collectors of these cards drive the market. It's an economy.
They do.
Yes,
but
there's always going to be somebody driving the price of games, cards, collectibles. There's always going to be a thing driving the price.
The difference
it's the same exact thing.
The difference with shares is that you have the shareholders, the buyers and the sellers driving that price, but also the people that are running the business that is a share of. It's like when Microsoft announces that they're going to have this brand new product.
Yes.
It influences people to come to it. A Charizard card can't say, oh shit, I can breathe fire today, and get people to come in and influence that.
Yes, but the collectors can influence that.
Right. And
it's the same thing. It's just not a corporate run thing. It's a collector run thing.
I think
that's why it's not as safe to collect these things, because what happens when the nostalgia for those things is gone? Is it going to carry on and people are going to want these things 20 years from now or 30 years from now or 40 years from now or 100 years from now? Are people going to want Pokemon cards from the first generation at this point? Maybe. Or is it just going to be a thing that dies and nobody remembers it? That could be too. It's the same thing with Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft is the biggest producer of PCs, but what happens if tomorrow there's a company that comes out that just makes a PC better, or makes an operating system that's better, and then everybody jumps on the ship, and then 100 years from now you say Microsoft and they're like, who's Microsoft? It could be the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's just on a smaller scale.
I will concede to you that it's similar. I still think there are differences between the trading card market and the stock market, but
there are some people that literally come from the world of stocks and the stock market. It's that dude that I was telling you about before that is on YouTube, Alpha Investments. He's literally he used to be a Wall Street guy. He quit his Wall Street job, jumped on this bandwagon of a game that he played when he was younger of Magic cards. He saw, the reserve list. He saw the potential in these cards becoming valuable, and he literally just started hoarding them. He literally gives he gives advice to people that are like high level people that are looking to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they literally will invest in what he tells them to invest in, and he's right a pretty big majority of the time. Like, he will call, a set and be like, that set's going to be 2x in 2 years. Buy this product at 400, I guarantee 2 years from now it'll be 800. And people will buy these products, and they don't have to buy them from him. Sometimes it's product that you can go purchase at the store. You
realize that he's basically causing that.
No,
by saying that, right?
He's not an influencer in the way of like driving these prices. He's the level of people that he is like giving this advice to. It's not a huge amount of people. It's not like he's giving 500. He doesn't give it for free. He has a subscription that people pay to get this advice. He will call it on like YouTube and stuff. Like yeah, I said this was gonna go up, and look, and he'll show you. And he made maybe one video about it, and that was it. Like,
I'm just saying, if you give public advice on something like that, and you have a wide scope,
he doesn't have that level of push to take a game like Magic the Gathering and just be like, you go up, and everybody's like, and then they go and buy the product. That's not. He doesn't have that level of reach. It's just he can see, he understands just the value and the market of Magic, of just collectible cards in general, because he calls it on Pokemon cards. He does like other card games too. Like, he's just the guy that he just has like a knack for it. I don't know what it is. He just has a sense for it, and he can just pick it, and he's pretty correct most of the time. There's probably been a couple where he hasn't. A lot of people like to hate on him, but I mean, it's hard to hate on this guy when he's so knowledgeable. It's insane. He's been on YouTube, I think, for 9 years, and he's been doing like this kind of stuff forever. But
he doesn't have reach?
Not like it's a niche card game. Like, not everybody that plays Magic, if you walk in and you're like, hey, have you ever seen Alpha Investments? They're like, who? Because he's not a guy that's playing the game. He's just a guy that sees value. Like, if you look at modern cards, he's like, yeah, I don't touch them. He only is interested in reserve list, sealed product, or like Power 9 and Dual Lands. That's like his thing. Which any Magic player is just like, yeah, cool. I don't have the money for that because that's great. That's insane prices. I'm not investing $10,000 into this card. The level that you have to be to take some of this investment, like, do you think any Magic player could look at sealed product and not want to open it?
So what you're telling me is he was pretty well off when he got into it?
I mean, he's ex-Wall Street.
There are plenty of people on Wall Street that are chasing ambulances and trash trucks.
He was, I mean, at the time that he got into it, it wasn't what it is. It wasn't as big of a card game as it is now. Like, now it's massive. It just got, like a couple years ago, it just got declared that it is the most complicated game of all time. It beat out chess.
I guess so. Chess has what, 20 pieces?
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, no, 32. 32.
It is a super complex game.
Chess?
Yeah. It's very complex. There's a reason that there's that many levels of like chess mastery. There's like Grandmaster and Master and whatever. I don't know what the other ones are called, but it is very, very complex game.
Homie, I am 35. I could not figure out how to play Magic. At 7, I knew how to play chess.
The concept to play it, yes, but the concept to play Magic is literally very, very simple.
Mastery of chess is largely based on luck, too. Like,
no. Have you ever looked into the, like, the anything with chess?
yes.
Have you seen, like, the ridiculous, like, it's insane, like, the things that you can do in chess. Like, yes, it's very simple. These pieces move this way, these pieces move this way. Yeah, sure. But, like,
well,
you can literally beat somebody in 3 moves. If they move certain ways, you know exactly what to do. And
yeah, I think they have to have a queenside opening.
Yeah, Alicia has played Magic.
Well, okay.
It's literally just take a 60-card deck that I would hand you a 60-card deck, tell you to shuffle it, tell you to draw 7 cards. Do you have any creatures in your hand? Do you have any lands in your hand? Cool? Keep it. And on your turn, you literally play a land, and if you have a 1 mana, it's mana, that's a land, they produce mana. That's how you play cards. So if you have a card that costs 1 white mana, you tap your land for 1 white mana, you play said card. You pass the turn to me. I then do what I can do. There's different strategies, but it's like 5 different deck types.
You have proven your own point.
There's
at this point. Like, literally, I was trying to help your point that, yes, Magic is more complicated than chess.
Yeah, but it's not.
But also,
even,
chess is not.
It's not even in the complexity of how to play the game. It's how you need to play it against your opponent.
Well,
you need to know what your opponent's deck is doing. And when you're playing top-level Magic, there are deck lists. You can literally look at the deck that your opponent is playing, look at every single card in the deck before you play them in your round, and you know exactly what's going on because they have open deck lists. If you're sitting at a tournament, like if you went to a tournament tomorrow and you don't know what your opponents are playing, you sit down, I could sit there and I could tell you what deck they're playing by the land that they play first. Not like about 90% of the time, because some share the same mana bases. So like, but the minute you see one card that they play, you're just like, oh, I know what they're playing. So you know what to expect. However, you also need to know the odds of them having certain cards in their hand that you need to be prepared for. So if there's a threat on the table, And it's like, okay, do I take care of that now, or can I wait? You know, I need to be faster than them. So if they're trying to do a combo and I'm trying to do a combo, I need to combo faster than them. That's the goal that I'm doing. Or I'm trying to disrupt their combo so that I can play my combo. Or if I'm playing a control deck, it's in the name, control.
And you think none of that is luck?
There is a certain level of luck in Magic.
And
but
in chess, because you have the same
I
articulation.
think the level of luck in chess is much smaller than the level of luck in Magic.
You still, like, there's no way to know what your opponent is thinking.
You don't know. You don't have to know what your opponent is thinking. You have to know based off of what their move is. You need to be on the offense to either block their next move, because it's all a matter of like reading your opponent. It's part of Magic too. Like, you can read your opponent. You're like, okay, I'm, watching what he's doing. I'm watching his body language. I'm watching the expressions on his face. I'm watching any giveaway that he has the combo in hand, and he's just waiting for that right opportunity to go for it. Because if you're a combo player, that's all you're trying to do is, okay, I'm playing against a control deck. He has counter spells. He has removal spells. I need to wait till he gives me that opportunity to play. Or I need to have the things that I have in my deck that will allow me to push through the things that he has. So, when you get to the later turns, it gets much harder against a control player to push through, because they're just developing their hand and they have answers to everything. And they have all the mana in the world to do anything they need to. But when it comes to being a combo player, your deck is resilient in trying to get the pieces of the combo into your hand. So you have deck filtering, you have cards that allow you to just get the card out of your deck, etc. There's also ways that you can, go for the combo, get disrupted, and then you can figure out ways with your cards to get these combo pieces back and go for it again. It's very resilient and like, okay, yeah, disrupt my combo. I don't care. I'll just do it again. And it's the same thing with chess. I think when it comes to chess, it's a lot easier to read what your opponent's doing, because you've studied the game for so long. You just know exactly what they're doing. But when you're playing against another high-level person, it's very interesting, because I've watched, the people that have played Magic for 20 plus years, and they are the best of the best. They're playing, at the highest level that you can play at on the Pro Tour, and they're playing against each other. They're both like insane players. They get into situations and just this back and forth where it's just this give and take, and at any moment, if one player just has a little tiny slip up, they can either give up the game completely and it's over right then and there, or, they can kind of be like, okay, I almost blew it there, but let's regroup. Let's not let that affect my mental state, because when you're playing at such a high level and the game so well, like, you don't get slip ups much, and it's just watching these two people just waiting and playing absolutely perfectly. They're not slipping up and going for it too early. They're not. They're playing around what the opponent has. It's like, okay, I'm playing against a control player. I can go for my combo now, and he has 3 counter spells or a counter spell and a removal spell to interact with me. Okay, if I play this and he has a removal spell, I can do this. If I play and he has a counter spell, I can do this. And if he has both, I can do this. There's so many different ways that you can go about these interactions, and it's insane when you understand the game and you see all of these it's what draws people to the game, and it's what draws me to the game. Is there's so many ways to play it. There's so many interactions that can be had, and it's like they print cards that make a card that was bulk 15 years ago. Now this card interacts with this brand new card, and now there's a whole deck around it.
These Magic rants are going to kill me before this is said and done.
Dude, I've been playing Magic for so long, and I've only played like competitive and meta games and all of this. Like it's ingrained in me at this point. But
I invite you to find me a chess player who can tell you what their opponent's next move is.
I guarantee they're out there. I guarantee. I think it's probably more common than you would think. If I knew a high-level chess player, I would call him up. But
I think a lot of people can guess, but I think you would struggle to find somebody who can truly get it right even 90% of the time.
If you put me at the level that I can play Magic, if you put me against the greatest player in the world, and we played, 3 different formats, or 2 different, whatever formats they are, like, knowledgeable in, I guarantee you that he would shit down my throat with 0 effort. Because he would just know, okay, you're playing this deck. I know the level of player that you are just by how you're playing, and I know that you're going to slip up, and I can tell you where you're going to slip up. I can tell you where your weak points are. I can tell you.
Right, so he can tell you.
He can
tell you opportunities.
That's all you need. That's the same thing as in chess. If somebody moves their pawn in a certain way, you automatically know, like, yes, if he moves this, I can move in there. And if he does this, then I can block this way, and it's being like 5 to 6 moves ahead of your opponent.
Well, that's the thing is,
and it's basically like it's the same thing. It's the give and take. It's you're trying to bait me into making certain moves, and I'm trying to bait you into thinking that if I'm trying to make these moves, you're going to fall into it. That's all. That's what it is. It's each. We're trying to bait each other, and we're trying to be 7 moves ahead of each other. So there's this huge.
I think the best way to settle this at this point is just for me to kick your ass in chess.
I haven't played chess in a long time.
It'll be that much quicker.
All right. Well, that'll be it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, do the thing, watch our old stuff, comment, tell us how pretty we are.
Why is the camera on that side today?
It's in the same place as it was.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Look at the angle.
It's a little farther to the right.
Yeah.
Shut up, Andy.